Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome everyone to Fit 5136 Software Engineering. And today we're gonna talk about this is week 3. We're gonna talk about requirement analysis, right? Okay, so here is the outline of the lecture today. We're gonna talk about user stories, invest principles, story point estimation, acceptance criteria, definitions of done, and some usability design principles. Okay. So basically, why do we need to talk about this, right? In real world, I mean, last week we talked about the requirement, and basically it is the feature or something or the behavior of the software system that the client really wants. Okay. And however, when we have that kind of feature, sometimes we don't know what is the value, what is the motivation behind. Let's say I want a shopping cart, but from agile perspective, right? We or the developer's perspective, when we develop any feature, we should know what exactly is the value that that feature actually contribute to the software system or the company. Okay. And that's why we will talk about the user story from different personas, that kind of thing, and how should we write an effective user story, that kind of thing as well. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's get started. So just a recap as well. Right now we are still at the beginning phase of the agile scrum. Okay. And which is really about the requirement engineering at the moment. As a product owner, we already or I mean, either the product owner or the business analyst, we talk to the client. This is what they want, and then as a product owner, we need to break down the tasks, come up with the small work items, and put them into the product backlog so that we know what are the things that we need to do first, or we do last, that kind of thing. All right. Okay. Okay, so just recap a little bit. Last week we talked about the requirement, and then basically the requirements are what actually determine whether your software is actually complete or correct or not, right? Let's say we develop one piece of the software, and then the question from the client perspective is that, okay, have you actually developed everything based on based on the requirement that we already gave to you or not, or is everything that you develop is actually correct, right? Think about a calculator application. You have like addition button, 1 plus 1, okay, but how can you actually test whether that addition button is actually perform or behave correctly? Okay, that's a that kind of thing, okay, or whether you implement the addition function correctly or not. Okay, how do we know? So the requirements this will describe everything here. Okay, and normally the requirements are determined by the product owner, but other stakeholders might have some input as well. Okay, for example, the tax office determines whether your GST or payroll tax computations are correct or not, and not just only the client or the end users or things like that. Okay, or not just the developers. And remember that the team advise the product owner. So basically, in the agile ceremony or the agile setting. Okay, I'm going to talk about that later next week about the agile project management. We need to discuss and refine the backlog, refine the requirement together. All right, so the requirement or the product backlog should not be just only the product owner responsibility, but should be the whole team responsibility. All right, so the team can come up with some of the requirement as well, as I already mentioned. Okay, because the requirements actually tell you what behavior is considered correct, and they are hugely important to the testing. As I tell you, 1 plus we want to implement the addition function. What kind of test cases that we should develop to test whether the addition function is actually implemented correctly or not? Maybe 1 plus 1, 0 plus 0 equals 0, -1 plus -1 equal -2, maybe, right? And that's why when we want to know whether it is correct or not, that's why every requirement, every piece of the requirement, not just should be, it is actually must be tested, right? Okay, and each test should be able to be traced back to the corresponding requirement as well. I'm sure there must be one slide talking about the requirement traceability metrics. Okay, I'll talk about that later. All right. Okay. requirements in the traditional process model. Okay. Um, so basically, in the past, it is really the text-based requirement, and all of the requirement must be written down. The description must be very detailed to the super specific detail, that kind of thing. Okay. And typically, it should be completed before the software design phase begin. Think about the waterfall. All right. That's the traditional process. Okay. Um, and this is what happened in the past. As I told you, we have the program requirement document or software requirement document. Okay, or software what is that? Yeah, software requirement document. Okay, it's the same. All right. Okay, and basically, this is really the medium or the something in the middle for as a communication medium between the business analyst and the software engineers. All right. Let's say we have a software house and uh, uh, business analyst actually already elicit the requirement from the client and then they need to write down. Okay, these are the things that, hey, software engineering team, they need to do. All right, let's develop this kind of features. Okay, so that's software requirement specification or the PRD, they are the same. Right? But nowadays, no, it's not really the case. Okay, because sometimes the requirement like for example, business analysts elicit the requirement and they have no idea how to test it, whether it is feasible to implement or not, right? That's why sometimes the product owners or business analysts, they need to consult with the software engineers. Is that feasible that we cannot develop this way? Should we just use the existing library or should we just, implement things from scratch, that kind of thing? So feasibility is part of the project management as well, right? Okay, so that's why right now, if we move towards the agile, everyone should sit together, refine the backlog, and discuss, okay, that kind of thing. Whether what would be the right the requirement, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. That's why we're gonna talk about for the whole the whole lecture. We're gonna talk about the agile approach to the requirements and the idea, uh, is that in real world, okay, completed requirement never exists. We sometimes we don't know what is unknown. Okay, so we really don't know whether it is completed or not, right? And that's why we should adopt the agile approach when the requirement is unclear yet. Okay, so over time, right? Instead, get the client or the product owner involved in the development, get something up and running as quickly as possible. So instead of get the complete set of the requirement, why don't we adopt the agile approach and do some rapid prototyping and check with the client, right? Whether it is actually correct or not. Okay. For example, here, right? As I look at the sub bullet here, let's get something up and running as quickly as possible and get the product owner to get the product owner to discuss with the clients, right? And see, okay, is there anything else that you want to add? Okay. Do you want this kind of thing? Do you want this color scheme or not? That kind of thing. All right. And then we deliver the how can I say, the working product. Okay, that's the agile manifesto, right? We want to deliver the working software as for each of the iteration as quick as possible. Okay, that's the value that we deliver to the clients, right? And then we call this kind of iterations or the sprint. Okay, and then we just repeat it until we finish the or complete the end of the project. All right. Okay, so sometimes, but one thing I really want to emphasize here is that when we use agile, the requirements do not need to be completed, but it doesn't mean that it can be blank. Okay, there's a trade-off or some paradox or misunderstanding between blank requirement or complete sets of the requirement. My point, we want something just enough information for developers to implement something. We need something in the middle. just enough information. Okay, we don't need like a super specific detail that okay, with the addition function, it should perform this kind of mathematics operation. It should limit and set the boundary, the value for the integer, blah blah blah. Like that's way too detailed. Okay, developers or software engineers can think about that, come up with that kind of details by themselves and check with the clients. All right, okay, so that's the thing. And remember, the first week, the week one lecture, we talk about Agile Manifesto, where we prioritize client collaboration over the exhaustive documentation. All right, this is really the Agile Manifesto, and we should remember that okay, there's a customer representative on site with the developers as well. For example, sometimes we during the one of the meeting with the client, right? I think that's the most important part that we should have the customer representative. Okay, let me rephrase again. Let's say we have a software house. Sorry, we have a software house. We work at a software house as a software engineers. We develop a piece of the software for the client. Okay, for the client, but the client doesn't mean that they are the end users. My point, if we want to develop code application for some of the meeting, okay, I'm in the software house, develop a software for code. We may want an examples of the code customer, okay, to be part of the user acceptance testing as well, or part of the trial phase, that kind of thing, to see whether they have they use that kind of application, they have a great user experience or not. Okay, this is an example. All right. And the product owner has no need to write everything down in great detail. It doesn't need to be detailed, but it should have enough information so that engineers can implement it. Okay. That's about the conversation with the product owner. Yes, that's right. Okay. So basically, first, everyone is busy. Second, when we have a backlog or the agile board, right? It is a kind of like reminder that okay, this is what we are doing. This is the focus for this week. Have you delivered this A, B, C, D, that kind of thing? All right. Okay. So, but there are many ways to write a requirement, and one of the how can I say it? I don't want to call it is a template or a unified way, but one classic one best example to write a requirement is to use a user story. Okay, might be a better narrative here. Okay, basically a user story is short descriptions of something that a user really want to do with the system. All right. So first it describes, okay, from which persona, from someone perspective, what do they want? Okay. So that what would be the values to that person. Okay. So that's why in the HI process, we tend to write the requirement using the user story rather than the comprehensive documentation. Okay, and basically this user story actually came out of the Ken Beck early work on the extreme programming as well. All right, so user story. All right, it is just one type of the requirement. Okay, but in real world, when you develop a piece of the software, there are different granularity levels of the details, okay, that you need to document everything. For example, you should write, this is a theme, okay? The theme, let's say, theme is about selling products, okay? You want to sell the products, and there are lots of features inside the code application that you really want to implement it, okay? For example, one of the feature, online shopping cart. Another feature, discount campaign. Make sense? One of the user story here, an example could be, as a full-time worker in the late night shift, I really want a feature of click and collect so that I can purchase the products online via the mobile apps, and I don't need to go to the store so that I can pick up when I come back home. Okay, make sense? Okay, this is an example of the user story from the persona. Which persona? What is the feature that they want? What is the value that this feature brings? Okay. So user story is kind of like the detail already. But when we say, yeah, I want, what is that? Sorry, my brain isn't working. When we want the click and collect feature, there are other details that we need to write it down as well. For example, what would be the business rules? Uh, how should we test whether this feature is actually implemented correctly or not? The business rule, for example, right? Okay, the click and collect click and collect. It doesn't mean that the customer can click and collect at any time, right? Everyone is busy. If a customer make a purchase, and then does it mean that the product is ready to collect? No, there are some business rules that, okay, there's a time shift gap. We need to think about whether we have enough staff to put things in the cart and then do the checkout for you, that kind of thing or not. So that's why we need the time shift or gap something, okay, that actually follow the business rule. Make sense? Based on the availability of the staff at coast, blah blah blah, or which branch that is available as well, okay, or time limit for the pickup. Okay, this is an example of the business rule. Yeah, and there are some UI prototype activity diagrams. You need to define or come up with this diagram, right? Think about the sequence diagram or interaction diagram where, okay, what would be the first step? Okay, if I want to click and collect, okay, purchase the order, next step what? Next step what? Next step what is that? Okay, you need to think about the activity, what is happening along the way that is actually aligned for this user story or for this feature. Okay, make sense? There are lots of details in there. So when we say agile, we don't need the comprehensive documentation. Yes, but we need enough information for someone to implement it. Okay, and if it's not enough, then that is a very bad requirement, bad description. Okay, so how do we know whether the how do we know whether the user story is actually good or of high quality or not, right? That's why someone, okay, come up with the principles called invest principle. These are some of the attributes of the user story, okay, a good user story. For example, one, it should be understandable by anyone. It should be independent to each other, okay. It should be negotiable. It should be valuable so that when we write the user story, we know what is the value that brings to the product. Okay. It should be estimable. Let's say, I want a shopping cart. First, it's not detailed enough. Second, it's not testable. Third, it's not small enough. Finally, it's not estimable as well. I want a shopping cart, but how does the shopping cart look like? It's really unclear. Make sense? So that's why when you come up with a user story, it should be, with these principles. There we go. But what exactly is a user story? Repeat again. It is a short description of something that a user want to with the system. Okay. Okay. Maybe this slide is repetitive. Maybe let's move on. Okay. So basically, it is an informal general expression of a software feature written from the perspective of the end user, all right, not the developer perspective. Okay, let's say if this is the rental property application, I would consider an epic, right? No, sorry, the theme. Okay, the theme as manage vacancy. Okay, this is a high level theme. It's about manage vacancy, and then the next question: what would be the feature that allow rental real estate agent to manage the vacancy? That kind of thing. Okay, first, real estate agent can post the vacancy, they can amend the vacancy, they can cancel the vacancy, or they can create the whatsoever as well. Okay, and then you write down the user story that is actually aligned with the the feature. Okay, for example, let's say if you look at the post vacancy here, right? Like first, why do we need no, okay, this is not really about the real estate. This is about the what is that? Job posting. Okay. So one of the user story, as an employer, I want to submit a job, right? Okay. As an employer, I want to register. What is that? Why it is incomplete? Okay, let's look at the one that is complete. Let's say amend vacancy. As an employer, I want to edit a vacancy. Okay, this is an example. But I would say that this user story is not high quality yet. Okay, because it doesn't describe what is the value. Okay, so that means the example that I given previously is much better. Okay. Okay, so I think this is and this is the way how you write the user story. You should follow this kind of structure. As a user, I want what is the goal, so that what is the benefit. Okay. This is the template, a classic template, just in case you don't know. Okay. Let's take a look at some of these examples. As a wiki user, I want to upload a file to the wiki so that I can share it with my colleagues. Let's say you develop a Wikipedia. As a customer, I would like I would like the system to not corrupt the database. Okay, I don't know why we need this user story. Yeah, but I mean, for some scenarios, maybe. Okay. As a survey participant, I want an indications of progress so that I know how much I have left to complete. This is an example of the Google form, right? You use the Google form, you are one of the participants. You answer the questions like hundreds of questions and you have no idea whether you are about to complete or not. So that's why you need some indications of the progress bar so that you know how much is left to complete the survey. Okay. All right. One of the comment is a feature also an epic in some situations or is an epic more vague. I would say epic is more vague. Okay. It's a higher level of the oh, you mean feature and epic, sorry. Oh, my brain is not working well today. I mean, I understood the epic and the user story. Okay, so epic is larger or broader than the user story. All right. So in my workflow, there are often a series of stories in the backlog. When I pick the ticket up, I will do some requirements, technical analysis, and tickets will often become an epic in its own right with supporting tasks for activities like defining schemas, as well as stories for specific features. Yes, you are correct. Okay, so sometimes uh there is it's about continuous improvement or development evolve over time. Okay, there's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. Sometimes the first user story that we create looks like user story, but later on it we can move up as an epic as well. For example, let's say prioritize that. Oh yeah, this looks like a good feature. Let's prioritize it as the real feature. Let's put more resources on this feature and break it down into multiple user story and ship it, right? It is also possible, yeah. But the question for yourself, whether it a feature or an epic, right? That's a good question, okay? So based on this figure, actually the feature is larger than the epic. Now, okay, it actually answer your question. Yep. All right. And okay, now we will talk about the invest principle. Okay, as I told you, good user stories should be independent. That means they are self-contained and can be standalone as well. All right. Uh, it should be negotiable. That means they are very easy to change. They are very easy to discard. They are easy to replace. They can be easily prioritized as well. Okay. They must be valuable. All right. They should describe something that the end user cares about. Why do we need this feature? For what? For what reason? Okay. It should be estimable. That means it should be sufficiently well understood or well defined that the team can estimate how long they take to implement it, right? And the user story should be small enough to be able to be confident about estimate. Okay, like this task, this kind of thing, we should take it should take like a day or uh, a week or 3 days, that kind of thing, okay, to complete. And it should be testable as well. It need to be able to ensure that when the user story has been implemented. So how should we test it, right? Okay. Yeah. So what does it mean? Independent, okay? Independent means that the user story should not depend, okay, on the other user story. Let me give an example. As a user, I want a checkout system that so that I can pay the money via the credit card, okay? And another story, as a customer, I want to pay the credit card using the MasterCard and the Visa so that I can collect the point, okay? I would say that this kind of two user stories, they are dependent to each other, right? Or another bad user story, okay? As a customer, after I complete the payment, I want a receipt so that I know how much do I pay or what items do I buy. So the receipt, okay, user story here is actually depends on the checkout one. Does it make sense? It's really not a good user story because it's not dependent. Sorry, it's not independent enough. Okay. Yeah. So good user story, it should be able to move around around the backlog or the Kanban. Okay. Yep. And or between the releases as well. Okay, negotiable. The good user story should be able to be modified, extend, or deleted. So sometimes yeah, requirement change over time. When you discuss with the client, sometimes they don't want this kind of thing anymore. So it should be deleted easily, or yeah, or priority change, that kind of thing. Okay, so it should be negotiable. Very very easy to understand here. Yeah. And most importantly, we want the user story to be valuable as well. It should describe what the value that this kind of feature is actually add to the customer or the system. Okay. For example, not I cannot come up with a bad user story here. Sorry. Okay, so it should be valuable. You need to know when you draft the user story first, why do we need it? Okay, and what is the value? Yeah. And it should be estimable. As I told you before, it should be small enough. Otherwise, let's say if I say I want a checkout feature, then it is too large and it cannot be estimable. It cannot be finished within one sprint as well. That kind of thing, right? Okay, it should be small. Yeah, so that's what, and it should be testable. Okay, I think I captured everything. Let's take a look at let's do some poll everywhere quiz activities together. All right. First question, everyone just go to the pollev.com/fit5136 and let me check some configuration. Looks like, yep, you can respond. Activate again. Present. Can you, okay, someone already respond. Yep. Thank you. Okay. Someone told me that I am muted. Oh dear. Okay. uh, okay. So thank you so much. So the correct answer is choice B. Okay. B. Implement a payment gateway. So as I told you, the question is really about an epic. It's not the user story. Okay. So definitely should not be either A or C. All right. Optimize page load time. I'm not really sure whether this is really uh the real feature or not. Okay, this is more like a task that okay. Yeah, the page load time is way too slow. Can someone just optimize it, please? Okay, this is like a task under something. Okay. Yeah. All right. Next. So the answer is B. Okay. Okay. Next, what is a user story? Go for it. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna pause the quiz. Okay. Lock this one and see the response. Okay. So the answer clearly A. Can we get 100%? Not really. Okay. 93. But the majority of you get it correct that uh, user story is actually a narrative description of a software feature from the perspective. Okay, it's not the detailed technification at all. Once you write a user story, you can write the detailed development plan or the technical work item as well. Okay, I want to create a database and things like that. This is really not the user story. It doesn't convey the user perspective, that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah. Next. All right. Okay, that was fun. Okay. Who typically write user stories? Yeah. Who? Let's try to get around 30 response. Can we do that? This is really easy. Yeah. Okay, one more, please. No, no one. Okay, that's okay. So the answer to let me lock it. Okay. So the answer to this question, right? Who typically write the user story? I think should be the dog. Okay. So initially, the initial version may be written by the business analyst or the product owner, but at the end of the day, as I told you, it is really the team responsibility. We want to make sure that how can I say we get the developer's perspective, we get the user perspective and the product owner perspective, everyone. Okay, so it is really the cross-functional team. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay. Next, what does the term story point refer to the agile? Okay. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. I need to talk about the uh, agile story point. All right. 1 second. Okay, story point estimation. First, why do we need to estimate the story point? Okay, so you have the user story, all right, and then in terms of the project management, you need to prioritize like based on the given limited time frame. First, how much effort that you are required to complete the task, and based on the limited time frame that you have, how many tasks that you can actually be delivered within that given time frame. Okay, so that's the key point. Why do we need the story point estimation? Okay, the reason to do, okay, as presented in the lecture here, if you want to deliver the software on time, you need to be able to identify or figure out, right? Like how long does it take to complete each of the feature, each of the story point, and then the cost or the time or the amount of time that attribute to that feature, it will become the cost of the software development project. Okay. As a CEO in the software house, we need to estimate how much does it cost, how much do we expense on your salary and things like that. Everyone is running a business, okay? Yeah. And however, the estimation is so hard, right? Because one feature, how do we know that what would be the technical part that is required and things like that. So yeah, so it is so difficult. That's why we need to come up with some of the how can I say, the the mechanism to estimate the story point. Okay, yeah, I will talk about that in the next few slides. Yeah. So, an examples of the why estimation is hard. Okay, sometimes in the past, people just estimate the effort based on the lines of code that a developer can write. Okay, but technically it's not, right. Sometimes one feature requires a large numbers of the lines of code, but less thinking. Some features require lots of thinking, but less amount of lines of code. So nothing is really accurate. So in the past, people tend to measure the productivity through the lines of code per hour, right? But right now, it should not. Okay, it should not be like that, and it should be about the difficulty to implement, or that's the real effort. Okay, to implement a feature. All right. So some of them they are not really, important. Okay. However, when you do the estimation, it's really about two aspects, whether it is an absolute number or the relative number. Okay. An absolute number, for example, based on this feature, I need 5 days. Okay. I need 5 days, and tax me, I need 1 day. That kind of thing. This is an absolute number, absolute estimation. However, when we talk about the relative estimation, it means that uh, task A takes me a lot longer than the task B. This is really relative. Okay. And yeah, so like, and then when we talk about the relative, you can think about how many times that one task take more effort than another task. Okay. It's more relative to another task, that kind of thing. So two two types, okay, relative, absolute, and the relative estimate. I really come to the okay the the real scheme. Okay, how should we estimate the story point? Okay, so some of the folks in the past they come up with the Fibonacci scheme. Okay, so basically we use the story point as a number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here. Okay, but as I told you, sometimes the story point is really about the relative estimation. When we use the story point, use the Fibonacci scheme, it is about whether one story point, let's say if a user story, if the user story is 1, right? It means that this user story is 1 is the standard. Okay, there's no relative yet. Sorry. User story 1 is like the standard. Okay, but when we say 2, it means that this story takes 2 times than the user story 1 to implement. Okay, does it make sense? Okay, 3 means 3 times more, 5 means 5 times more. Okay, and in reality, in real world practices, no one tend to go over 8. Okay, 13 is really something. First, when you assign a user story to 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, it means what? It means that that user story is not small enough. Okay, and then you need to break it down. Let's say within 1 week sprint, you have two software engineers. You know that how many story point in your capacity. And then when you do the project management, you need to prioritize. Okay, if this task take one, let's say in 1 week, you can do 20 story point. If this task take one, we can take 20 of this, right? But some tasks take 13, the rest need to be like only 7 of one story point instead. Does it make sense? So when you assign the story point, it limit the, it helps the project manager to limit the, how can I say, the limit the task that you're gonna prioritize and move on to in progress for that sprint. Okay, make sense? Okay, so there are different scheme or mechanism or ways to assign the story point. One of them is the Fibonacci. Okay, another approach is to use the something called t-shirt size. Okay, t-shirt size, just say S, M, L, XL. Okay, and it means that S just like few hours. This task is very small. I can complete within a few hours, right? Or some tasks, this is like a medium size. I need like a few days, okay, at least a day or so to complete it, okay. Or some tasks is really large. It means that I need like a few weeks, okay. Or some task that is really extra large, okay. Then it goes back to the question that whether that user story is small enough or not, right? So when, let's say if you have 1 week sprint, when we assign a user story with the Excel, it means that that user story cannot be delivered within that 1 week sprint, okay? You need like more than a week already, okay? And then when, yeah, so by the end of the sprint, then you really have no idea what would be the deliverables for that extra large user story. Okay, does it make sense? It helps a lot. So, okay, using story point or t-shirt size can help you refine your user story as well. If you find that your backlog is full of L or XL story, that means you are not breaking down your story to finely enough before the sprint planning, as I told you. Okay, so remember, smaller stories are easier to estimate, right? And also easier to fit into the sprint as well. Okay. So if your user stories are nearly all small point, okay, maybe like full of S, okay, 20 of S, then you might be breaking down too finely. Let's say, oh, for this task, I need to open the VS Code, okay. Another task, oh, I'm gonna connect to the database. That's way too fine grained, right? So I think one optimal way to estimate the story point, maybe you can uh, estimate around whether this is like within a day or another one takes like more days to do that kind of thing, right? So my point, if you want to represent the user story as a day, I think this is a good way to do. For example, this user story takes one, that means take 1 day to complete, 2 days to complete, 3 days to complete, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why it takes longer than 1 week? That's a question, okay? All right, does it make sense, everyone? Okay. And however, right? However, let me see the the poll. Let's do some activity before I move to the planning poker. Okay. Yeah. Activate. Present. 1, 2. Yep. This one is done. Yep. This one no. Okay. All right. So what does the term story point refer to in agile estimation? All right. There we go. Okay, 24 response so far, 25. Okay, this one is easy. Let's move on. Let's see the response. All right. So story point should be choice C. All right, fantastic, everyone. Basically, the story point is a unit of measure representing the overall effort or complexity of a user story. Okay, it's not about the numbers of the tasks. Okay, it's not the time that will take to implement. Realistically, the story point is like 0, 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing. But it doesn't mean that it refers to 1 day, 1 hour, or 1 week. Okay, it's not. It is the culture of the team or the team norm, right? That you need to design. What does it represent to? Okay, so in short, story point is just a unit of measure. Okay. Yep. Next. Okay. What is the INVEST acronym used for in relation to the user story? All right, there we go. This one is super easy as well. Okay, so I'm gonna pause in 5, 4. Hello, can we have more response? Okay. What is the invest principle? Why do we need it? How does it relate that to the user stories? Okay. Which one? Yeah. All right, let's lock the poll and then let's see the response. Yep, majorities of the students got it right. It is the purpose of using the invest principles is to assess the quality of the user story. Okay, do you still remember what does it stand for? Okay, independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. All right. Okay, next. Woo! My goodness. Okay, I just told. What does the I in invest stand for? Okay. What is that? Okay. Let's move quick in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And da. Okay. Locked. So it should be in the wait. Wait. 1 second. Yep, so it should be independent. Okay, that's the correct answer. It's not about important, it's not incremental, and it's not about the in-depth. Okay, if you go back to the slide, then you will have that answer. All right, okay. Then next question, which of the following statement best describe the end, okay, in the invest principles? Okay, what is that? Please, let's get 100% correct. Have you got the answer? Which of the following statement best describe the end in invest? Okay. Yep. I'm gonna close this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Yep. Let's see the response. So it should be negotiable, right? Choice C. All right. Let's see the response. Yep. Everyone. Okay. So 71% of the student, okay, got it correct. Okay. And it's not about understood, that kind of thing, or it's not about small enough. It's not about the specific or well designed or well defined. It's about negotiable. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Why is it important for a user story to be valuable according to the invest principle? Why, everyone? Okay. So I'm gonna pause this question. Okay. Lock this one in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's see the response. It helps prioritize work based on customer need. I think yes. Okay. I think yes. Okay. It's not about estimating the effort. Okay. It's not. It's about the value. What is the value of this feature that we bring to the customer? Okay. And so once the user story, when we write the value, so that, right, what is the benefit? Then we can actually estimate the size of the benefit. Like, for example, when you want to develop a shopping application, okay, mobile shopping cart, that kind of thing, between the login feature and the shopping cart, which one is more valuable for Cole's application? Do you get my point? Okay. Login doesn't bring any money. Okay. Login feature doesn't bring any income, but the online shopping cart, that's the main business for the Coles. Okay. So that's why it's more valuable. And they want to ensure that it is reliable, this feature is reliable, and it never break in production at all, right? Otherwise, they're gonna lose the money. Okay. Yep. So valuable. That's an example. Great. Next, which statement best describe the E in the invest principle? All right, guys. What is that? E in the invest principle. What is E? All right. So I'm gonna lock the question. Okay. Lock this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Someone changed their mind. Okay. Yeah. Let's see the response. So it should be choice D, correct? Okay. So majorities of the student got it correct. Okay. E is about estimable. That's one of the invest principle. Okay. It's not about understandable. Estimate. It means that it should be, yeah, estimable. If you write something that is too vague, uh, too large, then it's not estimable at all. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Okay. According to the invest principle, wow, okay. What does the S stand for? Okay, go for it, everyone. What does the S stand for? What does the S stand for? Okay. Yep. I'm gonna lock this question in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyone? Okay. Yep. Let's see the response. Okay. It should be small. That's correct. Okay. That's exactly the correct answer. Okay. So it's not about sustainable. It's not about specific. It's not about significant. But the good user story should be small enough. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Next. Okay. Which of the following is an example of a user story written using the as a user role? I want what is the goal so that benefit the format. Oh dear. Too obvious, please. I need 100% correct. Okay, all right. Let's lock it and then see the response. Choice C. Super clear. Thanks. Okay, well done. Next, okay. As a user, I want to be able to log into the system using my email and password so that I can access my account securely. Well, so does it follow the inverse principles, or this one actually follows the inverse principle? Is this a good one or this is a bad one? Okay, let's see the response from everyone. All right. Yeah, I think this is a good one, right? First, it clearly describes, okay, let's take a look at the inverse principle one by one. Is it independent? Yes. I want to log in. Okay. It doesn't depend on anything, right? Uh, Negotiable, is it negotiable? Yes, right? Okay, because maybe we don't need this feature as the first priority, but we can do something else first, okay? Uh, Valuable, does it describe any value? Yes, because so that I can access my account securely, okay? Is it estimable? Yeah, login feature. It's quite clear. Using email and password, it is detailed enough as well. Is it small? Yes, just login box. Is it testable? Yes. You have like a master username and a password. You can test the system whether you can log into the system or not. Okay. Yeah. Super easy. All right. Next question. As a user, I want a button to click. So which principle that this user story violate? Okay, that's fun. What's wrong? In short, what's wrong with this user story? Okay. There might be many answers, okay, but I think try to get the most important one, okay? Try to get the most important one. All right. I'm gonna lock the poll now, okay? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, what do you guys think? It should be C, okay? I think so. I from my feeling, this is really about C, okay? Before we estimate anything, I think the first question, what is the value of this button? Okay. Like seriously, why do we need this button? Okay, to click. Can someone explain me more? Okay. So that means when you do the assignment, don't write any kind of user story like this. Okay, please. All right. Next. Okay. Uh, as a user, I want a pop-up confirmation when deleting an item. Okay. So what's wrong? What's wrong with this uh, user story. Mhm. Oh, someone changed their mind again. Okay. All right. Let's. I'm gonna lock the poll now. Okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So let's see. The majorities of the vote goes to hmm either independent or valuable. All right. Okay. Yes, I agree. Okay, I agree. Actually, I would say it is both, right? Let's analyze one by one. Okay. First is not independent because it says when deleting an item. This is not a good one. Okay. Okay. And it doesn't say what is the value of the pop-up confirmation as well. So it breaks it violates the valuable part. Okay. So, so it's clear that, yeah, this one is not independent enough and there's no value attached to it as well. That's why it's not estimable, but whatsoever. Yeah, I think the key answer to this question is both, okay? Independent and the valuable. Yeah, I agree. All right, next. Yeah, what is a planning poker? Okay, now, there we go. Planning poker, okay? So why do we need the planning poker, right? Sometimes, as I told you, when we craft the user story, we're gonna do it during the cross-functional team. It means that there are lots of stakeholders, lots of team members, and sometimes dev say, "Yeah, this user story, I need 5 days." Okay, but the product owner say, "Oh, can you do 1 day?" Okay, or the UI said, the UI designer said, "No, no, no, I feel maybe 3 days that's enough, right?" Like dev, why you take 5 days, that kind of thing. So uh, one of the reason of using the planning poker is to help the team to find a consensus in the user story for a given user story. Okay, so basically, it is a gamified technique for estimating user story. It is designed to avoid the morale sapping arguments. Yet don't fight within the team. Just estimate the user story point why you need to fight so bad. Okay, we don't need to do that. It is designed to get around several of the cognitive bias that make accurate estimation hard. Okay, and planning poker is developed to as a it is actually based on the consensus of the team. Okay, so everyone need to agree on this one. Okay, on the user story. Okay, so it is actually derived from a form-based technique called wide-band Delphi that was invented by Barry Beam in the 1970 and 1980. Okay, so just in case you don't know, Barry Beam is a top professor, but he already passed away. Okay, from the University of Southern California, USC, in the USA. Okay, and he is one of the legend professor in software engineering, and at the time he pioneered lots of research around effort estimation and things like that as well. Okay, so but anyway, it is actually first described by James Granning in 2002, and current version was designed and popularized by Mike Cohn. Okay, so let's see how the planning poker works. Okay, so first, all right, as a product owner, I'm gonna read the user story. Okay, as a blah 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 blah. Okay, everyone, how much does it do you what would be the appropriate user story for this task? That's a team estimate, right? Okay, so let's get the team and the product owner together. But so discuss, sorry. First, make a list of the user story going to the estimate in this session. Second, get the team and the product owner together. give each of the participant a deck of planning poker card. Oh, that's a card. Okay. This card should show the story size your team use. Okay, one per card. And a deck has one card of each size in it. Okay, and decks can be purchased from many different sellers. Okay, can also make your own using the index card as well. And each user story is estimated in one round of the planning poker. So my point, okay, let's say you have a card in the deck. You, based on this given user story, you put down the card. Okay, how much what would be the appropriate user story point for this given user story. And if there's a disagreement, the team need to discuss and then try again and then repeat the consensus. Okay, repeat until the consensus is reached. Okay, so that's the planning poker. All right, everyone. So around of the planning poker, okay, during the round, right? I think first the product owner will talk to the team through the user story. During the discussion here, in the number 3, the team discuss. Okay, the team can ask question until each member is reasonably sure that they know what their estimate will be. Okay, so in short, you have team, you have a deck of card. Okay, and then you estimate the story point using that card. And then if it's not closely aligned with each other, that kind of thing, then you try to discuss, right? Oh yeah, this one takes more effort and blah 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 and things like that. And then okay, let's try to uh, uh, repeat the estimate again. Okay, that do the planning poker again, and then repeat until the consensus is reached. Okay, that's all. Okay, that's a planning poker. All right. Okay. I think I got a video, very nice video to explain how does the planning poker works. All right.
Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with Knowledge Hut.
Hello and welcome to Knowledge Hut. In this video, we will be discussing a very popular agile estimation technique called planning poker. Let's begin with understanding what is meant by estimation. In software development, an estimate consists of a quantified evaluation of the effort which is necessary to carry out a given development task. This is most often expressed in terms of duration. The intent here is to aggregate many individual estimates so as to obtain an indication of the overall duration, effort, or cost of a software project. Planning poker is a consensus-based estimate technique. In Agile, it is used to estimate the product backlog. Story points, ideal days, or any other estimating unit can be used with planning poker. So how do you use planning poker for Agile estimation and planning? At the start of the planning poker session, every person in the team holds a deck of planning poker cards. Each card contains a value, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, 40, and 100. The product owner or customer then reads an Agile user story or describes a feature to the estimators. Here, the term estimators means the whole team. The estimators discuss the feature to clearly understand all of its aspects. When they are done with discussing the features, each estimator privately selects one card to represent his or her estimate. All cards are then revealed at the same time. If the value selected by all the estimators is the same, then that value becomes the estimate for the story. If not, then all estimators discuss their estimates further. The estimators who selected the highest and lowest value should especially share their reasons. After further discussion, each estimator reselects an estimate card, and all cards are again revealed at the same time. This process continues until the consensus of all the estimators is achieved. When everyone is holding up the same number, we are done. That number is written as the estimate and we move on. But if the numbers are different, we discuss it and estimate again. When there is a tie in the voting between two sizes which are consecutive, for example, 5 and 8, just pick the larger size and move on. It saves a lot of time and also saves the team from the perils of running out of time due to an underestimation of the size of the task. If the difference between the estimates is very large, for example, 3 out of the 4 people are holding 5 and 1 person is holding a 100, then there is clearly either a product uncertainty or technical uncertainty regarding the task. In such a case, it is better to put the story aside and come back in the next meeting after doing proper research. So this was how you play planning poker for agile estimation and planning. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos.
Okay, that's right. So that's the short summary of the planning poker. Then let's do some quiz, okay, together. Or what about, let me see, how many slides do I have? Oh, that's a bunch. Okay. Yeah. So next is about planning poker. Where's that? There we go. Okay. What is the planning poker, everyone? Okay, so I'm gonna move on. Let's see what would be the answer, okay, and see if everyone can answer correctly or not. Clearly, planning poker should be the answer A, okay? It is a card game used to estimate the effort or relative size of the user story. It's not a technique to assign the task to the team member, not at all. It's not a method for tracking the project progress as well. That's really the Kanban, okay? Yeah. Next. What is the purpose of the prioritizing user story? Maybe I should continue. Yeah. Okay. So I talk about the planning poker already when the consensus cannot reach, and then that's why no, sorry. You need to do the planning poker the game until the consensus is reached, and then you assign that user story to that user, assign the story point to that user story. Okay. However, I also mentioned about the t-shirt size technique as well. This one, okay, small, medium, large, or extra large. That's also another technique as well. And the benefit of using this kind of thing, you is kind of like have a more cost grain of the user story. You can either think that the small could have like user stories of 1, 2, or 3. Medium could be like 5, 8, that kind of thing, and large is like 13, 20, that kind of thing, right? So this is more like another abstract of the user story point as well, okay? Another approach, I call it the bucket system, okay? So it means that this is more like a Trello or the Kanban board, okay? You have a column, and basically it's the column of the number, okay? The bucket 0 means 0 effort, okay? 0 user story. The bucket 1, story point 1, okay? Bucket 5, story point 5, bucket 8, story point 8, and so on and so forth, okay? Then right? Majority of the tasks, they belong to the bucket 1, okay? Small tasks, or the large one, okay? You like with this kind of visualization, you actually have a better idea whether the large tasks have been broken down into the smaller work item or not, so that developers can pick up the task and work on it. Does it make sense? Okay, this is another estimation technique. That's it. Okay, but how your team is going to use, that's really up to the team as well. All right, so next question, why do we need to estimate? I'm gonna talk about the benefits of using the story point. Okay, so one of the key benefit here is to estimate the velocities of the team. All right, let's say we start a sprint, and then by the end of the week, you haven't complete any of the story point. Does it make sense? And then it means that the velocity of the team is like 0. Does it make sense? Okay. So when you assign the story point, when it is complete, you know whether the team is on the right trajectory or not. That's the velocities of the team. Okay. And it helps the project manager or the whatsoever, right? Okay. Management understand whether this team is under the risk or not, is at the high risk or low risk, that kind of thing. Okay. So the velocity helps help the project manager in terms of the managing the project, all right, about the speed of the software development, okay, for that sprint. Okay, that's why in the past people tend to visualize the productivities of the team using a sprint burn down chart. Okay, so basically the sprint burn down chart is the line chart of the x and the y axis here. The y-axis represents the story point remaining in the sprint backlog, okay? And the x-axis represents the day, okay, that we have already start, okay? Let's say I work in a sprint. I have 100 story point that I need to work, okay? And I need to finish everything within 10 days, okay? And then you actually can track, okay? The projected progress, that's the trajectory, the prediction, okay, that okay, this is the ideal line that we should follow. It should not be like a down curve, like too much curve, so that maybe the project the team is burned out, that kind of thing, right? But it should be like neutral, okay, speed and pace, that kind of thing. And then you have another line, the red line actually represents the actual progress of the team. Okay, on the first day, as we start from the 90 story point here. On the first day, I haven't completed anything, but by the end of the day one, when I start the day two, the majorities of the story point have been completed. Like for example, what is that? 15, roughly 15 here, right? Have been completed, and then you can track the progress, whether you are on the right track or not. Okay, and or when you are at risk, that kind of thing. Okay. That's the main goal of the sprint burn down chart. Okay, so please remember that stories don't leave the backlog until they meet your team definitions of that. Okay, what I mean is that when you finish the sprint, sorry, when you start the sprint and complete a user story, the story should not be considered as completed until that user story meet the definitions of done. I'm going to talk about what is the definitions of done later on, okay? For example, I have a feature, addition in the calculator application, okay? I told my manager, okay, hey, boss, I complete the add button already, okay? 1 + 1 = 2. I test something already. Done, okay? I completed. And then it's not considered as complete. Let's assume that the definitions of done say that, oh yeah, the button add button should be placed here so that user can use it easily. Is like user friendly UI, that kind of thing. Yeah, I placed at the wrong place, so it's not considered done. That's why from the agile perspective, right, as a good project manager, you may want to how can I say, come up with the definitions of done or the acceptance test criteria, or in general, you need to think about how does the success of the project look like. Okay, but as a feature, you may need to think about how does the success of the feature look like. Okay, and for the plus button or addition button here, you may want to say that, yeah, as an end user, I should be able to do the mathematic operations using the add operation, okay, in a complex way that can that can compute up to 100 operations in time, that kind of thing. This is an example. What is the definitions of that? You need to think about that. Okay, that's an example. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, activate, present, next. So what is the purpose of prioritizing user story? Okay, let's complete this one together. Yeah. We have 4 questions left. I think, yeah. Go for it, everyone. Okay. Let's see the response. Okay, so the answer, why do we need to prioritize the user stories? So that we want to ensure that the most valuable features are developed first. Okay, so that's the choice bit. Thank you. Okay, 95%. I'm glad to see that. Okay. All right, next one. What is the purpose of the acceptance criteria in a user story? Did I talk about the acceptance criteria? No, not yet. Oh dear. Okay. Sorry, folks. Yeah, let's continue. So we talk about the definitions of done, okay? But before we move on to the definitions of done, we need to know what is the acceptance criteria, right? As I told you, when we come up with a feature, we need to know how does the success look like. And then we need to know, I mean, you should be able to define, yeah, the acceptance criteria. And it means the boundaries of a user story, and it will be used to confirm when the software is working as intended. Okay, when do you think that the user story is completed? What is the criteria? That's what you need to describe it down, okay, in a simple word as well. Let's take a look. For a smart home app, okay, one of the user stories could be, as a homeowner, I want to be able to dim or brighten the individual light globes so that I can create my ideal aesthetic light. Okay, okay. So let's think about like smart light, smart home lighting, that kind of thing. And the acceptance criteria for this user story could be, okay, the user will select a globe and then see this wheel. Okay, this wheel should use a slider control so that the user has a full range of brightness levels available to them. Okay, yeah, user can adjust the brightness. Okay, when opening this wheel, the initial slider position should reflect the current brightness of the selected globe. That makes sense. Okay, and the time for a light globe to respond to a change made by the user should be no greater than 1 second. That's the non-functional aspect of this requirement, right? Of this feature. That's really good. This is a very good acceptance criteria. When you define the criteria, as a tester, it is so easy for me then how to test it, right? Okay, make sense? Okay, everyone. Yeah, super clear. Let's see more examples. All right. Okay. Let's say as a customer, I want to check the balance of my bank account so that I can perform the transaction. Okay. So perform the transaction here, I would say is about withdraw or the deposit operation, okay, for the bank account. So the acceptance criteria here could be, first, customer log in before checking the balance, definitely. And the balance for all accounts should be displayed, that kind of thing, right? Okay, next, as a example 3, as a customer, I want to transfer money from my account to another bank account so that I don't need to go to the bank for making such transactions, okay? I would say so that could be better, okay? So the acceptance criteria here, first, customer log in before transferring the amount. System check the receiver's account number and validate it prior to performing the transactions. If okay, the local account balance is updated and displayed. Okay, system update both account concurrently. Okay, this is an examples of the acceptance criteria. Okay, but what exactly is the definitions of done, right? Okay, so when when you want to deliver the feature, this kind of criteria or should be met, okay? It's more like behavior of the feature. But it doesn't mean that once the behavior, once the feature is behave as intent, it doesn't consider as done, okay? So definitions of done, you write down the criteria. How do you consider that feature is done, okay? And done here, it means that, okay? This is an example, right? Do you assume your code is done once you finish typing it? Like, no, not really, right? Done, okay? And examples of done, do we have it? No, where is that? Okay. I can give you an examples of the definitions of done, okay? For example, that feature should meet the test coverage above 99%, okay? The feature that the button should have a response time less than 1 second, okay? Like it should be quantifiable. List down the definitions of done. How do you consider that feature to be done? Think about that, okay? All right, let's take a look at the definitions of done of, here's an example of the Moodle learning management system, okay? You have Moodle, you are using Moodle. I give this example before, long times ago, that we have a vision. This is a goal. How does the expected outcome look like? Okay, we want to increase the student retention, improve the student satisfaction scores and things like that. All right. We have two key features here, okay? Streamlining the course creation or personalized learning pathway, blah, blah, blah. So we, for the streamlining course creation, okay? What is that? What is this user story? As an educator, I want to be able to easily create or manage quiz, okay, within the LMS so that I can assess student understanding of the course material. This is an example. And the acceptance criteria here, right? An example is that first, the platform should allow educators to upload various file types, including document, videos, and the presentation. Educators should be able to create a quiz, definitely, okay? With different types of question, MCQ, multiple choice, open end, whatsoever, and set the due date for the assignment, okay? And then there should be an intuitive interface for organizing the course materials and the modules and things like that. Okay, so the feature is very big. The acceptance criteria for this user story could be around here, right? That I can create the course, I can manage the course, upload the files, and create the quiz and things like that. But once I implement everything here, does it consider as done? Okay, that's the question. So no, right? Suppose you are a technical team leader, then you are responsible for defining the done criteria of the team, and you need to list, okay, at least 3 checks that you would recommend. An example here could be, okay, automate test coverage should be greater than or equal 80%. The linter tool executed with no warning at all right? And the UX designer has approved the change in the front end. The theme should be aligned with the main application, the color scheme, whatsoever, aligned with the policy. The code should be reviewed by at least one other team member. The code was merged into the development branch so that we consider it as done. We ship the feature. Okay, all good, everyone. Acceptance criteria just define the behavior of that feature, when or how the user should test that feature. Okay, it's like user acceptance criteria, that kind of thing. But once the user tests it, everything works fine. It doesn't mean that it is done once if you didn't ship that feature. Okay, if you haven't tested, if you haven't achieved the high code coverage, that kind of thing. Okay, make sense? Yeah. Okay, now the real Pro EV. But I think, yep, let's do Pro. Activate 15, 16, 17. What is the purpose of the acceptance criteria? Sorry. All right, there we go. What is the purpose of the acceptance criteria, everyone? No, it's locked. Sorry. Go ahead. Okay, all right. So what is the purpose of the acceptance criteria in a user story? Okay, let's see the answer. Okay, first is not the technical architecture, definitely. It is to define the boundaries of the user story. Yes, choice B. Okay, to provide marketing slogan. No. Describe the user emotional journey. No. 95%. Okay, all right. Okay, good, very good, everyone. Next, what is the definitions of done in the software development? All right, what is that? Thank you, everyone. Okay, first of all, I really appreciate everyone stay, within the lecture, nearly 2 hours, 1.5 hour now, and you guys actively participate in the poll everywhere and things like that. And now, Zoom just give me a thumbs up by myself, by the AI. Okay, gesture recognition for no reason. Good. Okay, what is the definitions of done in software development? Okay, let's go through it one by one together. A document outlining the task to be complete? No, of course not. A checklist of criteria that must be met for a product increment to be considered complete? Definitely. A meeting where stakeholders discuss project progress? No. A tool used for estimating timeline? No, not really. B, 100% bingo! Yes, finally! Oh, I can't sleep well tonight. Sorry, everyone. Yes, okay, good. How does the definitions of done relate to the user story? Go for it. How does the definitions of done relate to the user stories? It specifies the technical implementation details of the user story. Super clear question, super clear answer. No ambiguity in this question at all. All right, I'm gonna get another 100. Am I correct? 100% correct. Please. I'm too excited. We're gonna review the truth. All right. 18. Anyone? Don't be afraid. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Let's see the response. So the answer should be choice C. Ah, yeah, okay. So it's not the step need to deploy a user story to production, not like that, okay? But it is more like the criteria that must be met, okay, to be considered as complete or to be considered as done, okay? So the step need to deploy a user story to a production, maybe just one word for someone that they need to deploy it, right? Or ship it to the production. So it's not really the step, yeah. Okay, next question. How's the lecture today? Go for it, guys. Okay. Maybe I will continue I need to activate. Yeah. So the last part here that I really want to emphasize is about the usability design principles. All right. So why do we need to care about the usability design principles? First, if you develop a calculator application where the numbers or the button in the app is all over the place, who can use that, right? Because they do not consider the user interface, the user experience, and things like that. That's why we need to have this kind of principles to help us in designing a prototype so that it is intuitive and follow human intuition and things like that. Okay, before we begin by the theory, a prototype is an early sample of the product, initial prototype of a product built to test a concept or process or to act as a thing to be replicated or learned from. In the past 20 years ago, people used wireframe, like some application, I forget the name, they draw the wireframe, but nowadays you have Canva, you have lots of tools to help you design uh, the mobile the wireframe or the prototype, right? So everything is much easier nowadays. And in the industry, prototypes are mostly the code screen or wireframes that show how the whole or the most of the software will look like and how the flow of the events will occur. So once I click this, how does it look like? What will be the next frame? That kind of thing is like you create a movie. And there are different types of the prototype as well. Could be a paper-based, it could be a wireframe, it could be a visual design using a Photoshop, Illustrator, and things like that. But nowadays, I think people just use Canva. No advertisement here. There are lots of usability design principles or rules that can be followed to design the UI better, right? And within this lecture, I'm going to focus on the two principles here. Donald Norman design principles and the Ben Schneiderman 8 golden rules. Donald Norman design principles. They focus on 6 principles here. First, visibility, affordance, constraint, cognitive aids, transfer effect, and the natural mapping. Let's start with the first one. Visibility, relevant objects should be in view and obvious to recognize. Let's say I develop a Grammarly for the Chrome extension. If I just have the plain text in the same format as remind me later, who's gonna click the install? Does it make sense? That's why from the UI UX perspective, we need to make this button like really highlight and make it clear or make it obvious, make it visible to the end user so that they can just click download, right? Click the install the Grammarly app in now, that kind of thing, Affordance, Affordance is about the appearance of an object should indicate how it should be used, For example, a button that change color when hover over to suggest that it can be clicked. Let's say if I move my mouse and go over the button here, and if there is no action or response at all, right? It means that is that a click button or what, right? Like I just have no idea. That's why if you use MacBook or Windows, maybe let's say if you select the files and move everything to the trash, you will hear the sound boom. It's like, yeah, all the files go to the bin. So that's the affordance, one part of the principle, right? And constraint, you should limit the possible actions of an object as much as possible. And a good UI, you should prevent user making errors. For example, when you set up the password, I think, based on some policy, you need to meet your password need to meet these criteria, right? First, have at least one lowercase, have at least one capital letter, have at least one number, have blah 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 A B C D, like so many criteria. And as an end user, without this kind of constraint pop up that actually inform the user whether my password actually meet the criteria or not, right? You would have no idea when you're gonna be able to create that password, like forever, I'm pretty sure. But once you have the password, you know the criteria, then I can come up with a password like in a click, right? I need one more lowercase, I need one more capital letter, all done, right? So constraint. you should consider this kind of design principles, okay? Constraint as when you design the prototype as well. Cognitive aids, feedbacks, okay, is about external representations intended to gain our attention, all right? Oh, damn, Tim Cook called me, okay? And if there is no notification or missed call at all, oh, I just missed his call. Oh dear, okay? I'm gonna miss like $1 billion deal here. Okay, this is an example. That's why when someone call you or with an emergency call, something just pop up or notify on the screen, right? This is an example of the cognitive aids. Give some feedback, they want to gain your attention. This is really important, okay? That's why iPhone has a mechanisms of the the home notification here, okay? All right. Consistency, okay, super important in everywhere in your life, okay? You want to transfer the learning experience or the expectation from one task to another task honestly, okay? We have Windows, okay, more than 20 years. Let's start from Windows 95. Click the start button, you see something. Nowadays, Windows 11, you click the start button, you also see something, okay? Same learning experience, everything is transferred from 20 years ago to nowadays. The only change is only the UI, okay? But the experience remain the same. This is so important, okay? Everyone, consistency. Don't change things around. Whenever you change things around, nightmares start to happen, okay? Yeah. Natural mapping, right? When you design the screen, you should how can I say, represent that feature or function in a more natural way, okay? Let's say you have a brightness and the speaker volume here, then what you really want to adjust is increase up or down, right? So that's really natural. And yeah, definitely for some other fancy car, Mercedes-Benz or BMW, they can adjust the seat, automatically, like power seat, power adjust seat. Then you have a button that actually reflect the components of the car seat, right? Whether it is a headrest, the back, or the seat itself, or the armrest, that kind of thing. And you have like lots of menu with the mode, set the to remember the setting, that kind of thing. Okay, really fancy. Yeah, natural mapping. Okay, all right. Let's see this video.
Donald Norman principle of design is one of the best principles of design. Norman's idea is to avoid two goals: goals of execution and goals of value. There are 6 principles of Don Norman. The first one is visibility. Users need to know what all the options are and know straight away how to access all of them. This is a good looking e-commerce website, but the only function you get is search items. In e-commerce, there should at least be categories options, price range, and a cart value. But here, there are no such options available in the beginning. User must scroll all the way to the bottom to find the options. Now let's redesign the website to get the visibility. This is the redesigned website. Here, all the options that you need for our e-commerce website are visible. Categories option, department, different section of clothing are available. Navigation page and shop, where you get range of pricing options in the left. Feedback. Feedback means reaction caused by action. There needs to be some indication like sound, moving dial, or a spinning rainbow wheel. Example, here in this payment website, a user enters his valuable information, including his credit card number. For case 1, submit button is pressed, but without any action, the website is redirected back. This can create confusion and panic among the users. EC cannot confirm if his or payment was successful or not. For case 2, submit button is pressed. Here, the loading icon is the feedback, which assures that the process of the transaction is going on.
Let's understand what is app puddings. Affordance is the relationship between what something looks like and how it is used. For designers, it means that as soon as someone says something, they have to know how to use it. We automatically learn to use screwdriver when it's on our hand. In electronic world, affordance is widely practiced here. Mobile phone has high affordance. It's easy to figure in intuitively how to use it, how to hold mobile phone, how to use mobile icons to use mobile application. The icon camera here clearly makes us understand to click photos. Similarly, messaging icon for sending messages and so on. Holding camera make us clear where we can press to click photos. Lack of afference leads to confusion. This kind of tools are rarely confusing.
Mapping are used to determine relationship, typically between something you want to control and the things you use to control it. Let's go to quick example. Here, steering of a car is mapped such that turning left takes car towards left direction, likewise turning right makes car to drive right. The next real-world example is stove. Here, the stove it has 4 burners and there are 4 switches or dial to control 4 burners. Problem here is to map different burner with different switches. So here, another stove where mapping is pretty clear and we have clear idea. Which switch is used to control which burner? This is proper mapping.
Constraints. Constraints are the design features that limit the range of possible actions or interactions that user can take to simplify the interface and guide the user to appropriate next action. Limitless possibilities often leave the user confused. Constraints narrow down the set of options users have to consider, reduce the chances of error, and make their task easier. There are different types of constraints. For example, physical constraints. USB cables are the chargers we use. Some of these cables can only go in one way, not the other. And about logical constraints, there are times when the unavailable menu items are grayed out or deactivated. For example, here in the Windows Explorer, the paste option is faded as it is unavailable. Consistency. Consistency refers to having similar operations and similar elements for achieving similar tasks. Systems are usable and learnable when similar concepts are expressed in similar ways. One of the major ways that people learn is by discovering patterns. Consistency is a key to help users recognize and apply patterns. Things that look similar should do similar things. For example, if we learn that rotating surfaces with labels on them are buttons that can be pressed, then the next time we see it, we will tend to recognize it as a pressable button. Inconsistency causes confusion because things don't work the way user expects them to.
Correct, that's right. Okay. That's the Donald Norman design principles. Okay. So the last one I want to emphasize is the Ben Schneiderman 8 golden rules. Okay. First, I think they are quite similar. We need to strive for the consistency. Okay, consistent user interface across the software system. It should cater for the universal usability. It should be like human centric. It should be suitable for all range of the users, like either age, disability, and things like that. And it should offer informative feedback as well, give user feedback on their action, like green, tick, sound, highlighting. This is quite similar to the previous design principles as well. Design dialogues to yield closure, okay, feedback or warnings at the end of the action, okay. So then we know, okay, when is the end, that kind of thing, okay. It should prevent the error. That means it's like the password, okay. We should have like some pop-up that actually show whether I do some mistake or not in creating the password, right? It should permit easy reversals of action, offer an easy way out where possible, change of mind, unsubscribe. For example, you use Microsoft Word. You type something, you want to undo things, and then this is like an easy way of reversals of actions as well. Support internal locus of control, give the user a sense of control, let the user initiate and control actions, okay? Don't let something else control you. Reduce the short-term memory load. Don't make navigation and tasks excessively complex. You should use meaningful mnemonics, icons, or abbreviations or hint, right? Okay, to make sure that the design is good. I think I don't have time to open this video, so I'm gonna skip. And I think that's all for the lecture today for the week 3, which is really about the requirement analysis. Okay, so I got one question from the Zoom chat I am about to answer. So basically, can I confirm the due date of the assignment 1, whether it is 30th of March or 27th of March and things like that? So there's a good news, okay? The good news and the bad news, okay? So initially, I really want to set the deadline to be Monday, okay? But due to the Moodle limitation and the faculty policy, I cannot set that. That's why I asked the head tutors of the team, okay, let's finalize the assessment 1 and set the deadline to be Friday 27 instead, okay? So that's the point, okay? So I think for the assessment 1, in conclusion, everyone need to submit by Friday. About the presentation here, I believe that you will do the presentation during the workshop session. Okay, so that means it will happen on week 5. Does it make sense? Okay, so it will be in class evaluation presentation, but the assessment 1 itself need to be submitted on Friday. Okay, 27th of March. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Yes. Any questions? Okay. Another question. In assignment 1, there is a profile function. What do user status and activity history mean? I think this question, let's ask in EDSEM. Okay. The tutors will give you the answer. Okay. Yep. All right. Looks like everything is all good. And everyone is happy. So I'm gonna wrap up the lecture today. I hope everyone have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the week and see you everyone again next week. Bye bye.